Today, I am joined with Rafael, who is a solo tech entrepreneur from Ethiopia, who dropped out of college 3 years ago to go all in on building startups. Since then, he has launched multiple projects, has learned the hard way from business challenges, and has kept moving forward. About his business, he's building a product called Werefa, which is a digital queue management and appointment system for businesses like banks, clinics, and service centers. The goal is to reduce long wait times and make customer flow more organized and efficient. There's a quote you had too, I want to share too, which is chasing big dreams, one line of code at a time. I really like that. It has a humbleness to it, but also an audacity of just, going after something big, but realizing it takes one piece of time, one at a time. It's kind of like the is it Lao Tzu, right? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Very, very reminiscent of that. Raphael, welcome. It's great to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here too. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I do want to start with a bit of a meaty question here, right? You talk about dropping out from college. I'm sure that was a big decision, a scary decision. There's a lot of thought that went into that, likely. Can you just run us through what that decision was like, how you came to that realization, and then once you decided it, any challenges that you had to go through with that?
Yeah, I mean it's a big decision to make for anyone. I mean you learn it starting from kindergarten. You learn it like for 12 years or 14 years to just graduate and have a job. And to just live that dream and start pursuing your dream, it takes a lot of courage actually. It took me a lot of time to decide to drop out from college actually. The main reasons that made me quit and made me decide to quit college was, maybe if I wait a little bit, maybe 3 years after graduation to pursue my dreams, or maybe 5 years after graduation or after having my job, I might not have that courage and that opportunity which I was having in that current situation. I mean, let's say maybe after 5 years or 10 years, maybe I might have a wife, a children, and it also comes with a responsibility and to take risks on that specific time, especially if you have many responsibilities, it's not going to be easy. So I thought for a lot of time and I decided to quit from college because that's the best time. I mean, that's the minimum, that's the best. So that's why I decided to drop out from college and start pursuing my dreams.
Okay, so you're like, I'm young. I don't have any major responsibilities. I don't have a wife. I don't have kids. I don't have a house. I don't have a mortgage. So if I'm going to do it, this is the moment to do it.
Yeah, additional to that, the best advice that I've got from reading books was the best thing in business is to early start, right? If you
Mm.
start early, you minimize the time that you fail, and you minimize the time that you're going to learn something. I mean, if I started maybe 3 years back, the 3 years that I'm going to fail is going to be much smaller and much easier. So that's one of the other reasons.
I like what you're saying. For me, I would word that slightly differently, that it's not like minimizing the time that you fail, because I think we can all agree, like business entrepreneurship, it's all about failure. Like everything you
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
fails, doesn't work, right? And it's more, to me, I see it as you're trying to get the failure done faster. You're like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
you're trying to get there earlier. It's like we're gonna have to go through this anyway. We may as well get it done earlier in life so we can move past it and onto the next, onto the next failure, onto the next
That's what I
mistake.
was saying.
What what was it in you though? Because I feel like it takes a strong amount of conviction inside of yourself. And I'm saying this as somebody, I did not drop out of university. I finished university. I got an engineering degree, for better or for worse. That's a different conversation. But to me, the idea of like dropping out, I don't know if I would have had that conviction inside of me. And so what was it that you knew about yourself, or like you had a business idea, or like you tasted something? What was that conviction inside of you where like, okay, I know, or maybe not I know, because there's no certainty in life, but like you just felt it inside of you, like I can do this.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Actually, the thing that convinced me to drop out was one of the things is I'm fast learner.
Hmm?
Back in my days, early days when I was young, I used to build projects in my school, a science lab. I also used to build some small projects like mini planes and all other stuff. Then when I go to high school or maybe preparatory here in Ethiopia, it's the grades are up to 12. And in that
Right.
time, I kind of lost the track and I got into like more of the friend zoning. I lost my habits and what I used to do back then when I was a child.
Okay.
So then when I go to college, actually I was taking two courses at the same time. I was taking music. I was music major. I was learning guitar in Addis Ababa University here in Ethiopia. Uh,
Okay.
and at the same time I was learning computer science. I was taking computer science course.
So I
Then
like that. Those are two very, very different skill sets. I'm curious to the story of how you decided on those two, but please go ahead.
yeah, definitely. The point that I was learning music was I was interested in music production, live music, and I wanted to pursue that dream also. So that was why I was learning music. At the same time, I was like that computer geek. I love the computer. I love like spending time in my computer. So that was the other reason that I was learning computer science at the same time while learning music. And I've learned it for like 2 years in college, and we were taking freshman courses.
Hmm.
Within those 2 years, we were learning biology, chemistry, introduction to programming, not a solid thing that can make you pursue your dreams or that can make you build the things that you have in mind. Like even from my childhood, I had those big ideas like building a tech project, building the next Facebook, those kinds of
Right.
ambitions.
Always a big, big dreamer.
Yeah, yeah, me too, actually. And after learning 2 years in college in computer science, I didn't get any enough knowledge in programming to be able to do that. And I started researching and I started asking people, asking other programmers, and most of them actually 60 or 70% of programmers are self-taught and they
I'm one.
yeah, yeah, me too. And they learned the basics, they learned specific things that can enable them what they wanted to build. So after talking to other people, after doing my research, I decided to drop out from college and start learning what I wanted to build. I mean, with the requirements that can enable me to build the things that I want to build. That's one of the things that convinced me to drop out from college, actually.
Right. So you're like you had these ideas inside of you. You're like, okay, I see there's different whatever technology, tech apps, things that we could build that would make an impact in the world. Why are we sitting in a classroom reading these books? Let's get out in the world. Let's build something. Let's do something. Are you like inside of you? Are you like you've got that builder mentality? I mean, you mentioned you like to build like was it model planes?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you said it. I mean, I wanted to build, but in college, I couldn't do that because we were just learning courses in theory. They were not, I mean, the courses are not like, they're just in theory. Like we were learning C++, and you don't use C++ for building websites nowadays that much. You can build it, but it's like it's for gaming or for something. And also we were learning, as I mentioned earlier, like physics, mathematics. Sure, they are supplements to programming. I mean, if you need to build AI model or something, you need to understand maths. But what I want to build at that time was projects that I can actually sell, that can actually shift into business. And the university was not giving that kind of resource for us. So that's why I decided to do that by myself.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a again, big decision, but it sounds to me like you had again, you weren't just dropping out so you could, sit on the couch and play video games all day. It's like you had a plan for something that you wanted to do. I'm curious too, because before the show we were talking a little bit about your YouTube channel, and you've been talking about how you've been documenting the journey of being an entrepreneur. And I'm curious the timeline there Was it that like when you dropped out and then like day one, you're like, I'm gonna turn on the camera and we're gonna start recording this journey, or how did you transition into that YouTube channel?
If you check my YouTube channel, it's Rafael Tadesse was my name.
Yeah, and
Uh,
we'll link it in the show notes as well so people can access
yeah,
it.
yeah, sure. Yeah. So if you check the first video, it was like a 3 or 4 minutes video, and it was me saying like I'm going to start from scratch and I'm going to pursue my. This is the video is literally me saying those words. I'm starting from scratch and I want to pursue my ambition. I was saying those words after I dropped out from college, and why I document my journey, especially on YouTube, is there are so many people lost out there. They don't have they want to build their thing, they want to pursue their ambitions, they want to pursue their dreams, but they don't have the initial cue point that can make them decide. So I want to share them that if you check most motivators or other YouTube channels, most of the YouTube channels I've seen, they just show you the easy part, like negotiating,
Oh,
partnering, maybe like making the money, spending the money. So what I wanted to show was the hard part. Like I want the people to see, or I want the young people to see that it's okay to fail and it's part of the journey. I wanted to show that. So that's one of the reasons that I've started the YouTube channel. I could have started the YouTube channel after I made it, to be honest. I could have just shared my past, like I faced this problem. I could have said that, but it's easier for people to just grow with you while they
right.
understand and share the progress you had. That's why.
To make it relatable. One of the one of the core themes I found that's been coming up on this podcast over and over again is the theme of like authenticity, realness, and a lot in the context of, we're moving into this AI world. And not that AI is a bad thing, it's a tool, right? It can be good or it can be bad based on how you use it. But one of my core philosophies or hypotheses about kind of how content, social media, human connection is going to go over the next, say, 5, 10 years. And this is already true, but I think it's becoming more true, is people are going to be craving that realness, that authenticity. As things become more and more AI and fake,
Yeah,
people are going to be seeking, even on like a subconscious level, they're going to be seeking out some sense of like realness, right? That rawness,
yeah,
that grittiness. And so I feel like you launching that YouTube channel and just being like, hey, look, I'm just going to show it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, the ups, the downs, the journey, what's real, what's working, what's not working. That's the kind of thing that people are going to connect and resonate with that and feel like, wow, this Raphael guy, I feel like I really connect with him. I get him. I want to continue to follow his journey to learn more. People are going to be hungry for that realness, right? So
yeah.
I think it's really cool the project that you're building there. Again, one piece at a time. But, let's talk about your business, Werefa. Curious where did that idea come from? And is this like first business that you started, or again, has this been an evolution of okay, you've tried a few things and now you've landed here? Take us on that journey.
Yeah, actually, I think this one is going to be the most useful information in this podcast, actually. I mean, the current project, Werefa, you mentioned earlier, is actually my sixth project.
Number six,
With
okay.
number six, yeah. Within those 3 years span, since I've dropped out from college, I've built almost five projects, and including the current project is the sixth project. The first project was it's called Kalil SDMS. It's a student data management system for schools, and it was my first actual project. Actually, that project was one of my early day projects. I built that project while I was learning programming. I was
Mhm.
using PHP, and it had an admin dashboard for schools. It also had a portal for students, which enables them to see their grade results, also have courses or resources which have been put in by the administrator from the school. That was the first project. I mean, the UI was messy. It was not perfect actually. And that was my first project. I even licensed the project. I tried to sell in the capital city here in Addis Ababa and also on other cities. And I I even don't have one successful sales. I didn't make a penny out of that project. It was just an experience. I've tried to sell it for so many schools, but it was hard. I mean, it was my first project, and it failed due to the government was also giving the service for free. The thing that I've learned from that failure was you need to do the market research first. That
Yes, yeah, that's an important one.
Yeah, I haven't checked any competitors first. Are there any other companies that are giving school management softwares? And when I go out to the market, the government was already giving the software for free. So I couldn't compete with the government. So I stopped that project. And the second project was called Up Home Properties. It was a mobile application for real estate. It's like a marketplace, but we are the only ones who's posting the real estates and the properties. We used to have partnership with real estate marketing firms, and actually we didn't launch that project. That specific project even got an investment from local investors here. But I don't have any solid business model first. I was just so hyped out in the real estate market. It's you. So many people tell you that the money is in real estate, and I just hyped out with that. And I didn't have any solid business model. I was just focusing on building a marketplace mobile application. And when we were getting ready to launch that app, there was no solid business model. There was no way that we can return that investment with the revenue. So we stopped that project too. And the third, am I going in the depths or?
So this is good, although I did want to go back. You mentioned earlier on your first project, you mentioned the word perfect, that it wasn't perfect. And I just
Yeah.
want to dig into that a little bit because I think it's an important word and an important topic. I feel like a lot of people, and correct me if I'm wrong, or if you think otherwise here, the need for perfectionism, right? I feel like a lot of people struggle with that they feel like everything has to be absolutely perfect, built right, have the right tech, have all the resources, have all the right team, everything looks flawless, is perfect, you've got the right website with the right copy before you can ever, talk about it or show it to anybody. How do you feel about perfectionism, and do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? And what advice would you give for people that are, say, struggling to make progress if perfectionism is kind of holding them back?
Yeah, that's actually most crucial thing while you're building a startup. I'm glad actually you mentioned it because I know so many people which are building a startup, which are building a project, and they keep iterating without even launching the project to perfect the product, to make it have more features, to make it more usable. I think the best thing that you can do is even if you can launch your startup with just the prototype, that one is better. I mean, instead of just perfecting the idea in your mind, it's better to make the idea out and, getting people's feedback, getting real response from your customers that are the potential users of that specific product and have an iteration with that specific response that you get after your launch. I mean, you don't have to have a big launch event. You don't have to have a big announcement mentioning that you have launched your project. You can just send basic emails for your target audience, maybe 10 people, maybe 20 first people, and get real feedback. So I don't believe in perfection. Instead of that, I think it's better to just go out to make yourself visible, to make your project visible, and get real feedback from real people instead of just I mean, what's the word for that? Instead of just uh, repeating the idea in your mind or just adding more and more features in just your local host or in just your laptop, it's better to get real feedback from real people. That's what
Mm.
I believe in.
I like what you said there about getting real feedback. You're familiar with the concept of like MVP, minimum viable product?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm a big believer in that philosophy as somebody who's a recovering perfectionist. Because you're right. The problem is you get stuck in your own head, and perfectionism. So what's sneaky about perfectionism too, it's one of those things where people treat it like a positive thing, but like it's disguising a negative thing, which I believe it's disguising fear, right? It's disguising the
Yeah,
fear of like being seen, of something not working. It's disguising a fear of like failure, right? And so people like to put this pretty mask on it. It's like, no, 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 I'm perfectionist. It has to be perfect before we can show it to the world. I think ultimately people are just covering their fear, their insecurity. And I do feel like in terms of if we're talking like personal growth here, there's something very powerful about accepting how I'm going to put together an MVP. I'm going to make something. It's going to be an idea. It's going to be rough. It's going to be incomplete, but it's going to be the seedlings of some idea. I'm going to face my fear. I'm going to put this out there into the world. And then, like you said, I'm going to get feedback. I'm going to see, do people get excited about this? Are people like, ooh, this
yeah,
is a really cool idea. Like we want more of this. Do more. Hey, could you also add like this? It'd be really cool if it did this. Or the inverse, if you get silence, crickets, nobody's interested, it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, maybe
yeah,
that's an indication that your idea that the market isn't ready for it because I do feel like business is a bit of it's a dance, right?
yeah,
If you as the business owner decide I'm going to start a business on this and we're going to sell this and people are going to buy it whether they want it or not, right? If the market doesn't want it, they're not going to buy it, right? And so you do have to do this dance where you find out, okay, what are my skill sets, what do I bring to the table, but then what does the market want and where is the energy flowing? Where does this go? So again, I like that you brought up that idea of perfectionism or overcoming perfectionism. I'm
yeah.
curious then. So okay, so you mentioned 6 projects. Where the idea for Werefa, are you able to kind of pinpoint where that idea came from? And
Yeah,
actually, just before we do that, can you just give a quick overview too of Werefa, what it is, how it works, who it's for?
okay. So Werefa it's an Amharic word. In English, it's for queue. It's a queue management system for businesses, for government, for private sectors like hospitals, for clinics, or also for service providers which have large queue. One of the reasons that I built Werefa was I came up with the idea when I was receiving a service in a government sector here in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. We need to we have to renew our digital IDs here in 2 years span. And I was there. I think I went in the lunchtime and there was large queue. There were so many people. And when I asked around, they told me that you need to came up in the morning, early in the morning to just be in line, to just get in line and wait for your name to get shut out. So I haven't decided to build the project at first. It was government service, so it's actually not easy for private sectors to build services for governments and for the government to use private sector projects.
Right, because of
So
like bureaucracy and their rules, their regulations.
yeah, yeah, definitely. That was one of the reasons why I didn't build at the first time when I came up with the idea. So you mentioned earlier the MVP, so I'm going to highlight that part. I just designed a landing page and a booking page for the queue,
Mhm.
and I went to that sector. I went to the manager and I talked to him. I discussed that what's the procedure to for a private sector to come up with an idea, to come up with the project and collaborate with the government. So he mentioned out specific bureaus, specific offices to communicate, like the innovation office and who is in charge for those kinds of projects or those kinds of innovations. Then we discussed that and they loved the idea. I mean, there are so many sectors actually. The one I was using was the one closer to my home, and there are probably like 60 service providers that provide the same service. And that specific problem was over all over the service providers. I mean, it
Okay.
was the main issue that the people highlight.
And just
So
to just to clarify too, so when you say like a queue management app, so would this be like, okay, if I need to go into the government and I need to get my ID renewed, I'm going to use your app and basically I'm going to get like an appointment time. So instead of standing in the queue, it's going to be like, okay, at 10 a.m. you have your appointment. So then I just show up at 10 a.m. and go to my appointment. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's how
Okay.
it works. And I just pitched the idea. When I pitched the idea and when I was negotiating, I haven't even built the project yet. I mean, you need to validate your idea first, and you need to make sure that the demand is there. I mean, you
Hmm.
need to ensure that it's acceptable with your customers and your audience. So not only with the government, I did my survey. I went to service providers and asked around the people in line who are waiting in the queue. I asked them, are they willing to pay if they can just have an appointment from their home? And I also asked the service providers that uh, is it possible to just give them the software for free and to just charge a service charge from each appointment? I asked that, I researched that, and after I get a successful, they allowed us to. There's a co-founder. I have a co-founder. His name is Steve, and they allowed us to have a pilot test in one service sector. Then after that, we started building the project.
Cool.
So yeah, uh, then we built the MVP with just basic features, with the basic UI, with just basic backend, and we started validating it. Uh, yeah, and that's it.
And the project was born. Okay, again, I really love that you kept again having these conversations with people, kept pushing, found an avenue where you could have a pilot, really test it out. Sounds like people have been using it. They've been liking it. I was going to share a personal story actually because you mentioned, government agency and popped into my head about a month ago. I had to go and renew my passport, right? So again, government office, right? And they do have an appointment setting feature to their credit, right? And I was going to use it, but the earliest appointment they had, I think, was 4 weeks or 6 weeks in the future, right? So it was like I gotta wait to wait, right, to
Yeah,
get my
yeah.
appointment. Or if I want to go tomorrow, and get this done, their office would open at 8:30 in the morning, something like that. And similar to your story, what I did is I decided, okay, I'm going to get up really early, and they open at 8:30. I'm going to get there at 8 o'clock, so I'm one of the first ones there. So when they do open, I can go right in. And I got there at about 8 o'clock, and I was not the first one there. There was already a line of people in front of
Yeah.
me,
Mm.
and by the time they did open at 8:30, the lineup behind me was very long. So again, I'm not the only person with this idea. People are like, "All right, let's get there early so we can we
Mm.
can we can get in." And I'm from Canada, and it's winter time now, right? So it's
Okay.
not just that I had to get up early, but had to stand there like it was cold, it was windy, it was snowing a little bit, right? So like I'm there like in my jacket, cold, and I'm like again, I'm frustrated because I'm like, okay, I had to renew my passport. I had to get up early. It's cold. It was just the whole thing was a very unpleasant experience. And so to be able to have that, like scheduling an appointment, ideally, not 1 or 2 months from now, but within the next
Mm.
few days, right? That kind of feature would have been very nice and very appreciated. So this is definitely something that I think every government agency around the world needs
Yeah,
some love like this.
yeah, definitely.
So there's definitely going to be, this is definitely something where people need this kind of service because if there's one thing that people hate standing in line.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
hate standing in line and they hate the uncertainty too. And it's like similar to if you ever, because sometimes I have to, for example, like call my bank, right? And it's the same thing. You call your bank or whatever the service is, and on the phone, and you're also waiting in line. They're like, thank you for your call. All our agents are busy right now, and they play
Mm.
the music in the background, and you're sitting there waiting. Now, some companies are smart and they have like a callback service, right? Where you're like, hey, if you'd like a callback, push the button, put in your number, and when our agent is free, we'll call you, right? And
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
that's the same idea. Maybe you don't know when they're gonna call, but it's like, okay, I don't have to sit here and wait like an idiot on the phone, right? Like I got work, I got stuff I gotta do, right? But at least if there's a callback feature that, like call back, right? It makes
Mhm.
me really irritated when I call somebody, like call a company, and they don't have something like that. And I'm just sitting there on my phone and I'm just like, what is this? It's 2025 and I still just have to sit here waiting, listening to this awful, awful music for, 20 minutes, an hour sometimes. And I'm like, why are we still doing this? Why can we not do something better? So I appreciate there are people like you in the world that look at that and you're like, I can fix this.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Actually, the third project was, I mean, sometimes if you like, there's a, what's the word for it? The third project of mine was a video chat app, like I mentioned
Okay.
earlier. There are some kind of projects or ideas that you came up with that are cool to work with, cool to build, maybe cool to have. But there are ideas that there are real problems that need to get solved, like this one that you have mentioned right now. I mean, the video chat project startup that I have built was it's just a random video chat for professionals. I didn't start with the problem first. I just feel like it's cool to build a video chat app for professionals. I didn't do any research to find out any specific problems, but it was just cool to build.
Right.
And I think that's one of the points that any entrepreneurs or beginner founders have to understand. Instead of just pursuing your idea only, I think it's best to like find out what's the real problem people are facing, what's the problem that's out there. I mean, what's everyone getting an issue with? I think it's better to start with that.
Agreed. I think it's again, like you said, market research. It's good to understand what the market needs, what the market values. I do think there's also some value though in I'm going to use the term experimentation, right? Of like if you have an idea and you're like, hey, this would be a fun thing to do, maybe recognizing, okay, I'm probably not going to monetize this. It's probably not going to be a business, but I also feel like if you feel that spark of inspiration of like, I wonder if I could build this, it would be cool if I could build this. I think there is value to in like trying things to be like, hey, I could do this, or maybe you learn something along the way that then helps you on your next project. So I do think there's a balance there. I think there's some time for some play, some experimentation, but I do believe that yeah, if you want to actually start a business, you need the market research. What does the market want? What are they going to pay for? What are
Yeah,
the
yeah,
problems that they actually want solved?
yeah, sure.
I'm curious. Okay, so you make this leap, you see this issue with queues, with businesses, with people waiting. You decide to start the business, you launch an MVP. What are the challenges? Well, let me start this way. What were some of the unexpected challenges that you found that you've run into since starting that project?
The current one?
Yeah, with Werefa.
Okay. So still we're facing problems. I mean, one of the journeys in having a business or having a startup is it's not going to be a smooth ride. I mean, you're gonna face a problem, then you're gonna fix it, you're gonna continue, then you're gonna face a bigger problem, then you're gonna fix it. So even currently, we're facing a few issues. So the journey so far is when we started out, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, it's not easy to deal with government services, to negotiate with sectors that give those kinds of services. I mean, there's hierarchy in each type of government sector. So when
Sure,
you got
yes.
when you get a deal from one sector, there's an upper body that asks you to do another pitch, to do another proposal, to have another meeting. Then when you have done that, when you do that, there's an upper body that asks you the same thing. So actually, it's the most irritating problem we're facing actually when, especially in this sector, in the government sectors. Still, we're just running a pilot in a few sectors. We're not fully operating in every service sectors. Now we're also onboarding other private sectors like hospitals, clinical laboratories here. I mean, the private sector is more easy to work because there's one person or one board to decide the decision.
Can
But
be, can be. Again, depending on the situation, depending on the size of the company, right? Like if you're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
sure.
like small business owners, yeah, there's just one person, get in contact with them, get their approval, boom, done, you're in.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was saying. When you compare it to the government sector, it's actually more easier for when you compare the private sector with the government. So
Yeah. And I
that,
would add to that too, the private sector is more incentivized to innovate and have better solutions.
Yeah, definitely. They have their own IT departments, every private sectors. The government also had that, but it's more easier for the private sectors to communicate with. They want to, they are open-minded. Most of the time, they are open for extra, what was the word? Other companies' resources. They are open for partnerships. I mean, as long as there's a mutual benefit for their company and for yours too, they are open for negotiation. And when you came with the private sectors, that's I think it's more smooth when you compare it to the government service.
Right, right. Okay, so dealing with government bureaucracies aside, what would you say if you had to pick, like if we're talking in the context of you're trying to grow this business, you're trying to get it off the ground, get customers, get sales, what do you feel like if you had to narrow it down to like one specific challenge, obstacle, problem that you're facing, what would you say is like that one big thing, that one unlock that if you got rid of it would help you just to like explode your growth?
I think that question is, I mentioned that the service is most probably for government. It's concentrated on that. And also we are adding other private sectors, but if there's a powerful company or a powerful, even the government itself, if they can back the project, I think
Okay, it's
that
like funding.
maybe not in funding, maybe a recommendation for other companies or other private
Okay.
sectors. That should be the rolling stone for us. I mean, when you go to other private sectors, if the main government office has supported that project, I mean, they are going to accept that. There's no need to deal with other bureaucracies there's no need to solve other problems inside their bureaus. So I think for us, if there's recommendation from the upper body, that could be more smoother for us.
Got it. So it's like once you're once you're in the club, as it were, you've been approved, you've been vetted to then have them to refer you, recommend you, to have that kind of stamp of approval, and then every other door opens much easier.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's what I was saying.
Is there anything else? Because I still feel like that falls in the realm of like government bureaucracy. I'm just curious from a like a business point of view, like a operations point of view, from a technology point of view. Is there anything else that you feel like has been causing you grief, frustration that you're like, I wish this would just go away?
Maybe in terms of technology, I don't think there's an issue because the problem is there.
Technology is perfect.
Maybe the problem is there, even in the business logic, the problem is there and we're solving it. I think what we are currently facing is maybe in terms of funding. Me and my co-founder are the ones which are doing the sales, which are doing the negotiations, the pitch, everything. Uh, me and my other friends are doing the coding, building the project, iterating features. So maybe I think if me and my co-founder focus on the business part, and if there's another technical team who's going to handle, I think there will be more room for us to outreach more other businesses to showcase our feature, to showcase the solution that we had. So in terms of that, I think maybe funding could have also been crucial in this journey.
Okay, so having some funding, having some investors. I'd like to, so like to me, I find starting a business endlessly fascinating. Now, there's obviously a transition there, right? You started life more as a computer science software developer. You then started the business. Can you talk a little bit about the journey of becoming an entrepreneur in terms of all of the hats that you have to wear now as a business owner, right? Because it's no longer just about making the technology. There's marketing, there's sales, there's accounting, there's HR, there's branding, there's logo, there's building a website, there's having a payment processor, right? Endless list of components of running a business. Can you just talk a little bit about what that transition was like for you, stepping into the role of a business owner and wearing all the different hats?
I think it's a great question. For me, it's because I even started learning programming because I just wanted to build my own projects. There are two kinds of people, right? There are programmers, they love to program, they love to code, They love to build, take projects. Then they start to saying was they came up with an idea and they will decide to just build a business or startup out of it.
Hmm.
And there are other kinds of people like me. When we want to build a project, we want to build tech projects, we want to have our own big company, maybe tech company, then we need to learning programming is required. I mean, if you don't have that kind of resource to hire a programmer or to have a tech team, you will decide to just learn the programming and you will decide to program the projects that you want to build by yourself, right? So for me, when I started to learn programming, one of my reasons was not it was for me to build my own projects. I think that's the main thing that kept me going, especially if you just want to program, if you want just to code, I mean, getting a job is might be enough for you. But if your main goal is to build your own projects, you will learn those things, the required things like the marketing,
Hmm.
even graphics designing. You need to design your own posters. You need to design your own logo. You will have or you will make the time to learn those things if your goal is to build the project. So I mean, if there are people out there like aspiring entrepreneurs or aspiring founders, what I want to say is if your goal is to build a startup, your own projects, I think there's always a room to learn new skills, especially which are critical to run your business. Like for me, design I design my posters, I design my banners, I design my logos by myself. I
Right.
didn't go to any graphics school, designing schools, or I just learned it using YouTube. And also, I edit my own YouTube videos. It's not just by default, or it's not just because I went to a editor school or something. It's because I just want to be out there and I just want to share my journey. So what to say here is if someone is dedicated in building a project or building a business, I think there's always a room to learn new skills. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And we're almost at time here, so we'll get wrapping up. But I did like that point too, in that I think it's important for founders to have that resourcefulness to them to, I would say, like, you don't have to be an expert in everything, but to know a little, like, can you make an ad? Can you make a like a LinkedIn post, right? Can you make a poster? Can you make a banner? Something basic. A little bit of marketing. Like, do you know how to run ads, or do you know how to connect with people on LinkedIn or make YouTube content, right? A little bit of, maybe accounting, so you know how to like keep track of your books, a
Yeah.
little bit of video editing, like you said, so you can make sure that your videos get edited and they get uploaded. So at least know a little bit, so that then as you grow, as you get more money, as you get funding, and then you start delegating and outsourcing, because you already have a little bit of experience, you're able to then kind of communicate to somebody, hey, this is how I want my video edited. Here's an example of how I've done it. I wanted to look something like this. And you have some reference experience to then know what good quality looks like, or what bad quality looks like. And so I love that idea of being able to, again, all the little hats that a founder has to wear, to at least dip your toe in a little bit, so you know it enough to kind of get the ball rolling. And especially too, when you're pre-funding, you're like, well, it's just me, or maybe me and a business partner. So I
Mm.
gotta I gotta get by with what I have here. Is there anything else, as we wrap up today? Is there anything else that people should know about you, should know about? Any last thoughts that you'd like to share here?
Not me, but what I wanted to share for people who are looking into entrepreneurship or becoming a founder is there's no perfect time to start. I think everyone should start with what they have, and you know, failing is the best teacher. I'm saying this because
I love that. I want you to say that one more time, because that was
yeah,
important.
I was saying failing is the best teacher because, like, as you mentioned earlier, even learning those specific skills like the graphics designing, anyone shouldn't wait the perfect time. I mean, you don't have to wait a year to learn those specific skills that you need to learn before becoming a programmer or becoming a founder. You can just start and learn on the way while you're doing it. I mean, instead of just waiting for the perfect time, I think everyone should start, then getting experience, failing fast. I think that way is going to be more smoother than just waiting as time or waiting for perfection. So that's what I want to share, and that's it.
Love it. Rafael, where can people find out more about you, can find out about Werefa? Is there a place where people can sign up and start using the service now? Is it live?
Yeah, actually, it's live on Teleber Super App. It's a mobile banking super app owned by the government. It's a mini app inside that. Currently, we're working on making it on a website. It's soon, when we add private sectors, soon it's going to be available for everyone. And if you, and about me, you can find me in YouTube or on LinkedIn. On YouTube, you can search Rafael Tadesse, or we can put the link in the description.
Yeah, I'm
So
gonna I'm gonna include the links in the description too. But again, feel free to say it out loud so people can hear it as well.
yeah, you can search Rafael Tadesse. That's my channel. I share my journey. Actually, I shared the journey starting from the beginning since I dropped out from college, and I'm also currently sharing the obstacles and the experiences I'm having now. So check it out. That's what I want to say.
Fantastic. Rafael, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today, sharing your journey, again, talking about the aspects of, getting over perfectionism, take your ideas, just start working on it, build an MVP, put it out in the world, see what happens, fail quickly and move on. So genuinely, it's been a pleasure having you here today, getting to connect, hearing your story, and I'm genuinely excited to keep in touch and hear how things go for you.
Yeah, thanks for having me too. It was a great experience.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right, Rafael, until next time.
Okay, thank you.